Okay, let's do a little thought experiment. What if you got a superpower, but it came with a really bizarre, kind of frustrating, or just plain weird side effect? Today, we're going to figure out exactly when that amazing gift stops being a gift and, just becomes a huge pain.
So this is the big question we're tackling, right? Are these powers actually worth the trouble? And you know what? The answer isn't always what you'd think. It almost always comes down to one thing: good old-fashioned human ingenuity. So let's kick things off with a power that at first seems completely and utterly useless.
So this first case study is all about the creative workaround. It's about when a limitation isn't actually a dead end, but really, it's more like an invitation to get clever.
Okay, picture this. You have telekinesis. You can move objects with your mind. But, and it's a big but, you can only move burgers. It feels like a cosmic joke, right? I mean, what good is a superpower if all you can do is float your lunch across the room? Well, as it turns out, that limitation, it's just the beginning of the story.
And here is the absolutely brilliant solution. See, you don't move the tool you need. You move the burger that's hidden inside the tool. You just get some burgers, sink them in some durable resin, and then you can cast that resin into any shape you want. A key, a lever, a lockpick, whatever. All of a sudden, you're not just some burger mover, you're a master of telekinesis with a very specific and, let's be honest, hilarious power source.
So the verdict here? Oh, it's crystal clear. Absolutely worth it. This just goes to show that a limitation isn't always a wall. Sometimes it's just a problem that's waiting for a really creative solution. That's a definite win for ingenuity.
So creativity can get you around a physical problem. But what about a psychological one? Our next case involves the power to bring any character you can imagine to life. I mean, that sounds like a dream come true, right? Well, maybe not.
And there it is. There's the catch. Instantly, this dream power turns into a potential nightmare. Every single being you create, it doesn't matter how helpful or friendly you try to make them, they all have this built-in, burning hatred for you. And that complicates things a lot.
You might think you could outsmart this, right? But the core logic of the power, you just can't escape it. Create a best friend? Nope, he's programmed to hate your guts. Create an ally to fight your enemy? Great, now you've got two enemies who might just team up against you. You're not creating characters, you're just manufacturing adversaries who know all your secrets because, well, you made them.
So the verdict here is a huge, resounding not worth it. The emotional and, let's face it, physical toll of being surrounded by beings of your own creation who all want you gone, that is just way too high a price to pay. It's less of a superpower and more of a really creative way to torture yourself.
All right, so far we've had a clear yes and a hard no. But, most dilemmas live somewhere in the gray area. This next section is all about those inconvenient bargains. Powers where the cost is pretty high, but maybe, just maybe, it's still worth paying.
The ability to heal any wound or illness, that's incredible. It's world-changing, really. But the side effect is just, it's so weird. I mean, imagine the scene. There's an emergency. Someone desperately needs help, and your first move is to start munching on the front lawn. It's going to raise some questions. This pretty much sums up the whole dilemma, doesn't it? You're trying to save a life, but to everybody else, you just look like a very, very strange person having a very weird snack. Forget keeping a secret identity, you'd be lucky not to get hauled away.
But, look, even though it's gross, super suspicious, and maybe a little hard to use in the winter, the final verdict is that it's still worth it. The sheer value of being able to heal anything is just too powerful to pass up, even if it comes with a side of freshly mown grass.
Okay, now for something a little more philosophical. The power to mimic anything, its shape, its abilities, is absolutely amazing. But the price is your own identity. You become a total blank slate, a formless being with no true selves to ever go back to.
But hold on a minute. Is losing your true self really a downside? Think about it. In a world where everyone is defined by being one thing, your defining feature is that you can be anything. Your lack of a single form that becomes your unique identity. It's a paradox.
So, our conclusion? Totally worth it. You can fly by mimicking a bird, become the world's greatest hacker by mimicking a computer, and that supposed downside, your lack of self, actually becomes your defining trait. The upsides are just way too big to ignore.
For our final section, we're looking at cases where the whole idea of a superpower and a side effect just starts to break down. Is it a gift with a flaw, or is it something else entirely?
Okay, check out these two, they're wild. First, you get the power to re-experience a show you love, but you're cursed to do it forever. The side effect? You lose interest. Now that sounds bad, but it actually fixes the curse by breaking the endless loop. Then, you have the ability to create perfect art, but you can only draw Will Smith. Come on, that's not a power with a side effect, that's just a bizarrely specific and ultimately useless skill.
So those last two really blur the line between a gift and a curse. But our final case study, it just completely obliterates that line. It's the ability to turn invisible, but only when nobody is looking at you. And there it is, the punchline. This isn't a superpower with a side effect. This is just a description of normal existence. If no one's around to see you, are you really visible anyway? For all practical purposes, this power does absolutely nothing.
So here's the key takeaway. This isn't a flawed gift, it's a curse that's just disguised as a power. It offers you this promise of something amazing, but delivers only the mundane, which that might be the cruelest trick of them all.
And this leaves us with our final thought, doesn't it? This whole exploration forces us to ask, when is a flaw a limitation, a side effect, not a bug but a defining feature? From burger resin hooks to a formless identity, it seems like the value of any power depends entirely on your own creativity and your perspective.
So the next time you run into a limitation, in your work, in your life, or hey, maybe in a superpower, ask yourself, is this a wall? Or is it just a problem waiting for a burger encased in resin? Thanks for watching.